You can feel the gap between the noise and the life you actually want. Threads, thumbnails, takes, and tribal badges on one side, and on the other, the quiet gravity of a man whose word lands where it claims to land. Marcus Aurelius wrote in a war tent, not a studio, and he left you a sentence that cuts every argument down to size. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. No hashtags, no posture, no myth, just the work. The Stoic standard is ruthless and freeing. Justice, temperance, courage, and wisdom are the measure, not aesthetics, not branding, not the costume you put on when a camera is near. A life either carries weight under pressure or it doesn't. The following is a straight walk through those 4 pillars and the single correction that brings them to earth. Doing over debating. Read it as permission to leave the panel, shut the tab, and return to the only arena that counts. The next decision you make when no one is watching. Marcus Aurelius never sold a style. He searched himself for a standard he could obey, and he recorded the results in a notebook meant for no one else. That matters because virtue, for him, wasn't theater. It was weight-bearing structure, habits and judgments that keep a soul square when the empire tilts. Justice, temperance, courage, and wisdom were not 4 abstract words. They were a carpenter's square he held against each day to see what didn't line up. Justice asked whether he dealt fairly with the people whose fates he could sign away with a gesture. Temperance asked whether appetite or principle set the terms. Courage asked whether fear edited the truth he knew he owed. Wisdom asked whether his sight had cleared enough to distinguish what was his to do from what belonged to fate. Now contrast that with the marketplaces of masculinity you know too well. The brand of hardness that is loud when there is an audience and evaporates when there is a bill. The rehearsed defiance that never risks reputation for reality. The endless debate about hierarchies that disappears the moment a child needs patience, a teammate needs credit, or a mistake needs ownership. That is costume. Marcus would call it fog. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Your timeline cannot tell whether you are just. Your bank ledger can. Your image cannot show temperance. Your calendar can. Your myth cannot prove courage. Your risks can. Your IQ cannot certify wisdom. Your choices under uncertainty can. The modern trap is to confuse resonance with righteousness. A clip can give you the feeling of having stood firm without the cost. A speech can give you the feeling of clarity without the quiet hours of thought. A body can give you the feeling of power without the disciplines that make power safe. The emperor who wrote those lines buried children, faced plague, answered betrayal, and went back to work. He measured himself against the standard when grief made a mockery of slogans. That is why his sentence lands across centuries. It is forged under load. So take the square to your own frame. Where does justice bend? Do you talk fairness and then hoard credit? Where does temperance warp? Do you preach discipline and then let appetite schedule your day? Where does courage bow? Do you roar on easy topics and whisper where it will cost you? Where does wisdom cloud? Do you diagnose the world, but leave your own mind untrained? Do not post the answers. Use them to set tomorrow's joints. The goal is not to look like a good man. The goal is to become one, slowly enough that it can't be faked, and steadily enough that even your enemies rely on it when the lights go out. Virtue is the measure because it is the only thing that holds. Justice, to Marcus, was not courtroom rhetoric. It was the daily proof that you understand other humans are ends, not instruments. An emperor had the widest field to abuse. He wrote to stop himself. He demanded of his own mind that it see clearly where advantage tempted him to treat people like tools. Then he countered the temptation with law, procedures, habits, and checks that made fairness repeatable. Translate that into a modern life and justice stops sounding like abstraction. It looks like invoices paid on time to people without leverage. It looks like credit assigned to the hands that actually did the work. It looks like meetings where you tell the truth about risks so your team can prepare rather than polish. It looks like speaking of the absent as if they were present and refusing every cheap laugh that buys belonging at the cost of someone else's dignity. Justice is also how you handle power you think you don't have. You exercise power every hour, the authority to set tone, the ability to create or erode trust, the choice to stand between a weaker person and a stronger appetite. The performative masculinities you are sold teach you to posture in arenas that pay applause. Justice tells you to use your weight where there is often no audience at all, intervening in a subtle exclusion nobody will clip, declining a profitable lie no one would have audited, giving a subordinate the credit that would have fed your brand, protecting your household from your mood, not their failures. If you want a standard for alpha, this is it. People breathe easier around you because they know your strength will not be used to take, but to shelter. Justice destroys the craving to win every argument because it replaces dominance with duty. You do not have to be right in public if you can be fair in private. You do not have to control the story if the people who actually experienced you can speak freely without fear. You do not have to fix the whole city if you can make one corridor safe for truth. Marcus understood that justice is the engine of social oxygen. Without it, courage becomes cruelty, temperance becomes vanity, and wisdom becomes posturing. With it, small rooms flourish and large rooms can be repaired. Ask yourself these unglamorous questions and let the answers change the way you move. If you had to be managed by someone exactly like you, would you feel seen or used? If you could audit one hidden decision you made last week, would it survive sunlight? If your worst critic ran your next promotion panel, would the people you lead defend you without rehearsal? These are justice's mirrors. They cannot be fooled by content. They can be satisfied only by process and pattern, by a spine that has learned to act on behalf of others, even when it would be cheaper to act for yourself. Justice is not a caption. It is 1,000 small, invisible economies of fairness that make a man's presence feel like relief rather than weather. Temperance is not timid. Marcus's temperance was ferocious self-government, the refusal to be ruled by urges, moods, or praise. In a palace full of pleasures, he reminded himself that appetite is a wonderful servant and a ruinous king. Your palace is lit by a screen, stocked by delivery, and connected to a feed designed to hijack dopamine and sell it back to you. Temperance today is the choice to be a man the market cannot puppet. That begins where you already know you are bought. The time of night when you keep trading tomorrow for a little more now. The conversation where you let anger perform as strength. The meal you pretend was celebration when it was sedation. The browser tab you swear is just stress relief, while it teaches your body to expect shortcuts where stamina is required. Temperance is not puritanical, it is strategic. The question is not, is this pleasure allowed? The question is, does this habit leave me stronger for my duties or softer for my excuses? Marcus observed himself as if he were a city he had sworn to defend. He asked whether the gates were guarded, whether the wells were clean, whether the watchmen stayed awake. You can do the same without theatrics. Guard your first hours as oxygen and let no one, not craving, not clout, spend them. Speak once less than you want to in a heated exchange, and count your blood cooling as a victory worth more than winning. Take hunger, fatigue, and desire as signals to be managed, not gods to be obeyed. A day governed by appetite looks alive and ends empty. A day governed by temperance looks plain and ends powerful. Here is the trap. The culture will applaud your temperance when it is aesthetic, when it sculpts your body, polishes your diet, or fits a brand. Marcus does not care about the costume. If your restraint in the gym is not matched by restraint in the boardroom when a lie would be profitable, your discipline is decoration. If your abstinence from certain foods is not matched by abstinence from gossip, your clean living is vanity. Temperance is unity. The same man in private and public, governed equally where the world rewards indulgence and where nobody would ever know. The point is not to appear in control. The point is to be unbribable by your own impulses. Temperance is also joy correctly priced. You enjoy the feast because you did not need it. You enjoy sex because it is governed by fidelity, not frenzy. You enjoy celebration because it does not have to anesthetize an unlived life. Stoic temperance multiplies delight because it removes desperation. With desperation gone, you can love people instead of consuming them, use tools instead of being used by them, and leave pleasures in their place, gifts, not gods. That is a masculinity you do not have to explain. It is felt in the way your presence steadies rooms and returns people to themselves. Courage, for Marcus, was not a stunt. He lived daily with the possibility of assassination, disease, and imperial loss. Courage meant showing up clean anyway, doing the obvious good his office required without a guarantee that the world would applaud or even notice. Translate that to your life, and half the noise people call courage evaporates. Getting loud on easy topics is not courage. Posting your fury to a group that already agrees with you is not courage. Wearing hardness as costume while you avoid the conversations that would cost you comfort is not courage. Courage is the decision to accept near-term pain for long-term alignment. To tell the truth that may dim your star today, but repair trust for a decade. To refuse a profitable partnership that would tax your conscience. To apologize without a counter-accusation, and then behave differently, so your apology is not an alibi. Courage is also the refusal to be drafted by fear into performances that keep you small. The fear of being ordinary tempts you to dramatize your life so you can feel singular. The fear of being rejected tempts you to soften facts until nothing can be built on your word. The fear of being wrong tempts you to sit on decisions until opportunity expires and you can claim purity. Marcus trains you to see fear as weather. You can walk through rather than a court you must please. Speak one sentence shorter than your fear demands. Decide one thing on time without borrowing the crowd's permission. Hold one line without writing a manifesto about it. Repeat until your nervous system remembers that you survive reality better than you survive the performances meant to avoid it. The modern brand of alpha often confuses recklessness with courage and contempt with strength. Marcus re-centers the standard. Courage does not need victims. It does not invent enemies so you can feel like a warrior. It does not pick fights that cannot possibly help the people in your care. It does not gamble other people's peace so you can entertain yourself. Courage is precise. It risks the right thing at the right time for the right good. It is the father kneeling to reconcile with a child after discipline, so the lesson does not become alienation. It is the manager telling a board what is actually true, so the firm does not die of delusion. It is the friend naming a pattern without cruelty, so the other man can keep his dignity while he changes. The test is simple and cannot be gamed. Does your brave act make someone else safer to tell the truth next time? If the answer is yes, you have matched Marcus's courage. If your brave act only increased your followers and your opponents, you have likely performed. Leave the stage. Take the risk that repairs the world nearest your hands. That is courage, and it is always quieter than the clip. Wisdom in the Stoic register begins with a ruthless distinction. What is in your control and what is not? Marcus returned to this division because it keeps a man from spending his power on weather while neglecting the garden that answers to his hands. Wisdom is not a stack of quotes. It is the muscle to redirect attention again and again, to what can actually be altered. You cannot make people just. You can make your contracts clean. You cannot make culture sane. You can make your household orderly. You cannot retire corruption. You can refuse to participate in it and train your replacement to do the same. Wisdom also means seeing through impressions, what Stoics called the first film laid over reality by emotion, bias, or desire, and asking for the thing itself. Is this threat truly urgent or merely loud? Is this opportunity truly aligned or merely glittering? Is this person truly dangerous or merely different? Marcus used early mornings to interrogate his mind before the world did it for him. In a modern life, that looks like short, honest pages where you write what you fear, what you owe, what you can do next, and what you must ignore. It looks like reading people who do not flatter you, spending time with men who do not need you to be impressive, and keeping one or two elders near who can tell you when your cleverness is outpacing your character. The pitfall you must refuse is the confusion of wisdom with aesthetics. A shelf of translations, a leather notebook, a minimalist desk. None of these will rescue you from self-deception if your sight is clouded by ego. Wisdom is humble because it is accountable to outcomes. If your counsel does not improve results for real people, it is not wisdom. If your models collapse in the face of simple facts, it is not wisdom. If your theories never require you to change a habit, apologize to a subordinate, or switch off a habit that makes you sloppy, it is not wisdom. Marcus brought philosophy to the field because philosophy that cannot ride with the legion is vanity. Finally, wisdom is patient. It accepts that many goods ripen only in seasons: trust, reputation, mastery, a settled mind. And it stops trying to microwave what must be baked. In a culture that pays speed, wisdom uses slowness as an edge. Slower to rage, slower to publish, slower to conclude, and faster to test in small, reversible steps. That patience is not passivity. It is the deliberate cadence of a man who wants his life to survive contact with reality, not just applause. Become hard to impress, harder to provoke, and easiest to persuade by evidence that helps you do the next right thing. This is wisdom's posture, and it makes every other virtue possible because it keeps you from lying to yourself about where your power actually is. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The sentence is not a mood, it is a template. A day either honors it or it doesn't. You will be invited hourly to the podium, to opine, to posture, to correct strangers, to perform identities, to consume the feeling of being righteous without the labor of becoming reliable. Decline. The pattern that makes a man is a schedule where effort outruns explanation. You show up where you said, you do what you wrote, you return what you owe, you fix what you broke, you shut your mouth when it helps, you speak when silence would betray, and you leave rooms a little more honest than you found them. That is the entire revolution. The modern problem is performative masculinity, optics over oaths. Aesthetics can be fine signals of care, but the test is whether the people closest to you would trade your brand for your presence and feel richer. The online economy makes debates profitable. Your life makes debates expensive. Time arguing over tiers of men is time not spent becoming one who refuses to use people, who refuses to lie to himself, who refuses to let fear outsource his decisions. Marcus's fix is always the same. Return to the small governance you control. Fold the laundry while nobody thanks you. Pay the invoice before the reminder. Tell your son, I was wrong, without a speech. Give your colleague the credit even if it delays your ascent. Hold your boundary without writing a paragraph. Read one page you will apply. Sleep on time without announcing it. Lift the thing, write the thing, repair the thing, then repeat tomorrow. There will be rooms you leave by choosing this life, Rooms that sell identity as a subscription and confuse brand with backbone. Let them close behind you. There will be quieter rooms you enter. Shops where men measure each other by how useful they are. Kitchens where peace returns because your standard does not swing. Circles where correction is offered without humiliation and received without drama. Stay there. Virtue is not a costume you show. It is a pressure you remove from others because you can be trusted to carry your own weight. You made it to the end, which already puts you ahead of the part of you that prefers arguing to act. If this landed, make one promise you will keep before the day turns. A justice you will do, a temperance you will enact, a courage you will choose, a wisdom you will prove. Write it down where you'll see it at dusk and pay it in full. Drop what it is below in the comment. Pass this to a brother who is tired of performing and ready to build, and subscribe if you want the old words sharpened into tools you can carry, and tap like to mark the moment you retired the costume.